Hi, I'm Henry Segerman. This is 5-axis racks. As you can see, there's lots of parts that slide through each other. In fact, there's 5 of them. So you can see there's this 5-fold rotational axis here. If you look from the other side, it's actually, there's a sort of mirror image thing going on here. So you see these sort of are sort of spiraling out in a clockwise direction, whereas from the top, they spiral in the other direction, in the anti-clockwise direction. So there's some interesting symmetry here, and you can see that there are 5 racks, each of which is made of sort of 2 beams which are connected at the ends. And they all manage to slide through each other, and I'm only holding on to 2 of the racks, and the other 3 are getting pushed along just by the motion of these 2. So this is closely related to other racks that I've made in the past. So I guess this started out with Borromean racks, which was joint work with Saul Schleimer, where there are 3 racks that are at right angles to each other, and they move through each other in the same sort of way. And then the follow-up to that was tetrahedral racks, where there are 4 different racks which go through in a sort of tetrahedral symmetry through the center, and each rack in this case has 3 beams to it. And so this tetrahedral racks is very similar in terms of the structure of the beams, not the gearing, the racks, but the beams to this work by John and Jane Kostick. So they gave me this example made out of this metal wire, which has the nice effect that you can sort of pinch it shut like this. Of course, the geared ones don't do that. So it's the same in terms of the way that the wires go through each other is the same as the way that these the racks here go through each other. Maybe I can line them up so that they're exactly the same size or something. Anyway, so I showed the tetrahedral racks to John, actually both of them, John and Jane Kosticks, and they said, oh, there's this other thing that you might not know about, and I didn't know about it, with 5 axes. So, and it's sort of a nice midway between the tetrahedral racks has a total of 12 beams in 4 directions, whereas the Borromean has only 6, and so in between 6 and 12 there's this shape with 10 racks. So after much trying to figure out what the structure is, because it's not so obvious what's going on, there's nothing, it's not related to a polyhedron. But after much playing around with this and talking back and forth with John, I figured out what the structure would be, and after some working in, you can see that it works and works pretty nicely. It's quite large. Maybe it could be made smaller. Maybe not there, because you can see sort of, so each of these beams has 2 quite wide sides, and on the back there's 2 quite short sides, and the short sides gear into the long sides in another. So if we scaled it down, then this short side would get even shorter, which might be a problem with it maintaining the registration and working properly as a gearing. Turned out that this was quite a bit easier to put together than for example, the tetrahedral racks was quite difficult to put together, in part, I think, because each of these racks is made, there's one sort of solid piece that contains 3 of the beams and 1 end cap, and this is the removable end cap on this end, whereas for this 5-axis racks, instead I was making it with the 2 beams are individual, and then we can put the caps on just like this. Whoops, a little bit stiff. But then the idea is that you can thread all of the beams through each other in some complicated way, and then afterwards you can put the caps on, and that makes it much easier to get everything lined up properly. So quite a lot easier to put together than the tetrahedral racks. Might be something I'll revisit later. When I'm making more of these sort of rack objects, this is a lot easier way to make it. And then these are just super glued on because I was finding that the end caps were just sort of sliding off if I didn't do that. There's one other sort of confusing part about this is that the two beams within each rack actually mirror images of each other, and you have to get them paired up correctly, and if you flip it around this way, it looks very similar, and so it's actually quite difficult to put it all together. At least it's not difficult in terms of dexterity, it's just sort of difficult in terms of figuring out what the shapes are. So this is 5-axis racks. Thanks for watching.